So you guys make your way back out from the Temple of the Oracle and back into the pastoral forest, and you guys are walking west to Estoria.
Shade would be somewhat distracted, at least for the beginning of the trip, just trying to wrestle with and digest everything we learned from the Oracle.
Magus is pretty quiet, too.
Theo is doing his usual look around, seeing if anything has wings and is flying about. Just taking in nature and considering all of the things that he's heard and their implications.
Falbin's very focused. Feels like he's just getting something out of the way to go learn more about his problem. Specifically, knowing that in the Old Woods there lies answers with Demetria. And prior to going to the Old Woods, he knows that there's other things that need to be done. He's kind of hoofing it at speed.
Magus, at some point, picks up a rock and just kind of tosses it in his hands and looks over to, where I assume Mitros to be and just tosses it into the woods in that direction. When we, break for lunch, he's, very, very moodily eating his rations.
I guess as it's kind of getting close to sundown, Shade would query the party. Should we stop for the night? Might be better to stop and camp.
Let's not push our luck. We're not in too much of a hurry. We may be a little impatient, but it's better to be cautious than to run into something evil in the night.
Falbin definitely doesn't like the idea of stopping, but he has been through enough things where he tried to rush stuff that he's willing to do it.
So do we need somebody to roll a survival check or something to find a good campsite?
I am a strong survivor.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
First crit!
First crit of the game. So you found an area of some stone ruins that would be a good shelter.
And a great nesting spot right over here.
What are some ritual type things that you guys do when you're setting up camp?
Oh, man. Falbin's got stuff.
He's got a list.
I definitely would be surveying the perimeter of the camp and looking at, can I set up some alarm tripwires? I am paranoid in spades because of my life. I'm not dead yet.
He's still kicking.
You have been hunted your whole life. Shade, you're kind of a man of the outdoors.
Yeah, Shade would definitely be looking around, seeing the scenery, not only around where our immediate vicinity, but what avenues could be approached, what we can see, where we can't see, and he would definitely be trying to position himself where he could see as many of the approachable areas as possible. And he would also, I don't think he'd recommend, he'd just ask, so how are we doing watch rotations?
I love that you asked that and I don't have to ask that. That's great. Thank you. This man plays D&D.
Shade is our battle master.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
As Falbin's walking around surveying things and fiddling with tripwires, he'd be like, oh, I'll do the first watch.
All right.
And Theo would say, Rue usually keeps watch over me. Nightly routine is to take out my lute and play a calming song before bed.
Just put me wherever.
Falbin, Theo, Magus, and then I'll take last watch.
Sure.
All right. And with that, Shade would kind of go around making a small fire and...
Oh, I can take care of that. On fire. Magus is a city boy, so he doesn't have much country experience. He basically just lights the fire, maybe gets a snack, and then just goes into a corner and just settles down.
Before he really gets into his trance, Shade would try and catch him. Magus, if you want to talk about anything, just let us know. I know it was a lot.
I'm fine, okay?
If you say so. Shade just paused for a second to see if Magus would reply, then kind of back off to the other side of the fire, but still watch him.
I like to think that Shade's eyes glow with the firelight.
Oh, yeah. They definitely reflect.
Yeah.
And I like to think, based on his eye color, they're just bright, not sapphire, but even brighter than that, blue gems looking in his eyes.
Not something you want to see peering out at you from the darkness.
No.
Glad you guys are on each other's side.
Next session, PvP.
So, Magus, you go into your trance. Falbin, you're up. Are you kind of patrolling, or do you kind of stay in one spot? What do you do?
I would probably be patrolling the perimeter. It's kind of a strange position for Falbin to be in because for so long he's never been a part of a group. And so it's kind of odd for him to be a protector, and he feels, I don't know if the word is compelled, but he wants to do it well. He wants to protect these people, and so he's definitely taking a much more active role than others might.
So you're being very vigilant. You've had a lot of rest, and your energy is up. You feel like you could stay up all night if you wanted to, but you find yourself nodding off. And as you kind of round a corner, you kind of slump up against one of the stone walls, and you are so tired. And maybe just a little sleep. 5 minutes, that's all you need. That would be great. And before you can even really consider it, you have fully slumped to the ground and are asleep.
Oh no.
If it helps, Magus will wake up in 4 hours.
You guys are all asleep, and as you rest, your mind stirs, and a woman's voice suddenly emanates from the darkness. So, your great quest begins. Off to become heroes, are you? Mortals are so very proud. A purple light shines in the dark, illuminating the sad and pathetic figure of an old man who's been hogtied to a stake. Look at this one. He's falling to pieces. Joints stiff, skin slack, teeth gone. The life is practically dripping out of him. Inky black shadows fall across the old man. He flinches and squirms, panicking as something draws closer, something that you cannot see. Yes, his sad mortal life is leaking away, but I wonder what will happen to his soul. The old man, he thrashes against his restraint, screaming into his gag as a blade descends. And then, on the edge of your dream's horizon, the sun rises. Rays of bright golden light reflect off the clouds in the sky. The inky shadows over the man burn away like parchments in a fire. The restraints binding him turn to ash and fall to the ground. He stands and he looks towards the dawn, and then with a smile disintegrates into shimmering golden particles. No! How? She screams. The image fades into the darkness, and you awaken, kind of warm and refreshed. You're certain that you've maybe just avoided a horrible experience. But as you wake up, Magus and Shade and Theo, you're within eyesight of each other. You all look at each other, and it's very tense, like a 2-second Mexican standoff where you guys feel like at any moment you could jump up and grab whatever's closest and deadliest to you and try to end the life of that other person. But that feeling goes away, and you're left with a sense of shame, like, I can't believe I just thought that.
Shade at least would have started awake from this unnatural thing. Teeth barred. All you see is just like bright blue reflection staring across.
Well, Theo, who had prior to this been affectionately cuddling his rifle, would quickly pick it up and get ready to aim down the sights, and as he's about to lower his weapon to do that, he kind of realizes no reason for me to do that. He puts it back down.
Magus has done 2 things. 1, he has reached for his short sword, and 2, he has used a sorcery point to cast mage armor.
Shade would immediately stand up, count party members, make sure they're all here, spin around, looking out into the darkness, see if there's anything at all. Probably start a circuit of the camp, and as he starts, asks the question, Fulbin, what happened? Did the rest of you feel that?
I've never had anything like that happen. I don't know how long I was asleep. I was awake, and then I couldn't stay awake.
It was the same for me. Felt like someone was speaking to me in my dreams.
Lutheria always lies. But we took your boar, bitch! And we gave it to the dawn! How does that feel?
Yes. Is that what that? Did you see the same thing I did? Some man tied to a post, about to be devoured by shadows?
And then the dawn burned them away. That was Mitros.
Great. So now we know that we have the attention of at least both of the Titans. This is going to be a lot more difficult.
It escalated quickly.
Yeah. Well, that's after I died. Guess we just stay here for the night?
That's what I say. It's our dreams, and they will follow us no matter where we go.
Falbin, are you still kind of pacing around the...
I would be pacing until we've sort of agreed on the watch.
You're making a couple more rounds before everybody beds down, and you hear a twig snap.
I'm on edge. I'm alert, and I've got dark vision. I would definitely be investigating that. Since Shade and I are doing this watch together, I would whisper, I'm going to investigate a sound I heard over here.
Jade would basically just nod and ready his glaive.
Falbin, as you kind of reach the exterior of the camp, you hear a tightening of a bowstring, and then an arrow comes at you. Roll initiative. Out of the darkness to the south, you hear a familiar voice. Unfortunately, the Oath of Peace bars Sidon from ordering us to harm you, but not to worry. I'm under no orders. This is simply a matter of honor. And it is Breaka.
Of course it is.
Oh, we get to kill him.
Am I happy to see you?
Oh, shit.
That's a lot of gang.
Shade, you see some sort of swirling magic around Breaka as he walks in and he has Spirit Guardians cast.
Oh, great.
He's going to cast Guiding Bolt. He nat ones. Oh, I clicked on Spiritual
By the way,
Weapon.
it's not one. It's done. It did. He doesn't reroll it.
The roll is the roll. That's totally fair. If this was at a table, I would have just rolled a d20. Even with the real roll, he rolled a 13, which misses. This flash of light screams over your shoulder and impacts on a wall. It seems like this would have done a lot of damage had it hit you. This is like some sort of godlike power.
Divine.
Divine, that's the word.
What form do the Spirit Guardians take?
It's like wisps of lightning.
Of course it is.
How bad is that, Magus?
It hurts you if you're in close to them.
Crap. Holding my glaive in my left hand, I will whip out a hand axe from my belt and chuck it at him.
And it connects, doing 6 slashing damage to him.
Okay.
Oh, he's gonna roll concentration.
Yes.
He gets an 8. It drops.
Oh. So that drops like immediately? So I still have my movement?
Yeah. Oh my god. There's this swirling cyclone of radiant lightning. You just pull out your hand axe, hurl it. It kind of picks up static as it passes through the field and then hits him in the arm. And there's just like a burst of static. And then he just sees you staring daggers at him. He's not getting away from you.
Not if I can help it. You know what? Screw it. Action surge.
Yeah, dude. You're about to take a long rest anyway.
And it is, in fact, glaving time.
He's like about to have his men attack, and then he sees you just kind of shake your head no at him and pull your glaive out. And that's a 21 to hit for a massive 11 slashing damage. You have completely caught him off guard. He is not looking good. He picked the wrong end of the camp to walk in on.
And now I'm backlit by the fire, and any light he has from his thing is just reflecting in my eyes.
So good. The soldiers are going to go now, and I'm just going to have them all go. So this is going to be a lot of attacks, so just bear with me. The guy to his left is going to short sword you. That is a 16.
Misses. 17 AC. Just for the briefest of moment, my eyes flick to him as he tries to swing a short sword, and he falters just enough to miss.
He's going to react and try to push you with his shield. He does hit. I'm going to need you to make a strength saving throw. You probably got it. DC is 10.
Well, let's see.
Oh, yeah, you easily. He pushes you, and you don't move an inch. Magus, you're going to take 1 at you. Theo, you'll take 1 at you. This soldier is going to try to push you with a shield. That does hit. Magus, if you could roll a strength save. Theo, he misses you with the shield. You handily beat the strength save. He's going to go ahead and try to slash you with his short sword anyway. That's a 14 to hit, which I believe you're fine, right?
Correct, because I have mage armor up.
2 more are going to come in.
Yes, group up, group up.
You should always be nervous when the wizard says group up.
This guy, Theo, is not going to come all the way to you. He's just going to get line of sight of you over the fire, and he's going to fire a short bow at you. These guys are pathetic. That's a 7 to hit. All right, Falbin, one of them is going to fire his bow at you, which is what started the encounter, but we roll initiative, and that's how it works. He rolls, God, a 10. The other guy runs up to you. 14? That doesn't quite hit you, right?
Misses.
Okay. He'll swing at you with a short sword. God, an 8. These guys cannot... They cannot hit you.
They're mobs. I mean...
Over to Falbin.
I don't like this positioning. I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage. What I'm going to do is beat the hell out of this guy that seems to be endangering Theo here.
23 to hit.
Sneak attack as well due to ally.
Yes. How do you kill the soldier that's fighting with Theo?
I run into the camp, and as I'm running, I throw my dagger at this guy. It gets him right in the throat, and as he clutches at it, it dislodges from his throat and flies back to my hand.
Oh, love it. A pinwheel of blood as it flies back to your hand. Okay, Magus, you have guys on either side of you.
I'm imagining, like, because they missed as a result of my mage armor, both of them, like, have their swords out, and I'm just, like, holding up one arm, and it's just magical force energy to stop them in midair. And I glare at both of them, and then I turn my gaze to Breaka. You want to know what the Oracle told me? She said I'm gonna kill your god, you fucker! And I am going to cast Catapult at Breaka. And I'm also going to use my last inspiration to impose disadvantage on his roll.
All right. He rolls a 19 and a 12.
I am going to use Empower Spell and re-roll the 1 and the 2. All right, so that's 14 damage to him.
How do you kill Breaka?
I pick up the largest chunk of rubble that I know will work with this spell, and as I'm shouting at him, it levitates up from my hand and shoots toward his skull and implodes his face.
Shade, you hear just that telltale over your shoulder, and he falls dead. Whew, brutal.
And I just kind of like spit at one of the soldiers next to me.
They don't see that Breaka died, but they can see your satisfaction, and they look afraid. Actually, go ahead and roll an intimidation check.
Ooh, that's a 23.
They both turn and run.
I'm going to use my reaction to like stab one of them.
That's a hit for 6 damage. You catch him. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And he's booking it into the woods. Theo, you still hear commotion down to the south.
So I'm gonna move into position here, and I'm gonna stick with the tried and true combo. Mark him, and I'm gonna shoot his face.
That's a 21 to hit. Yeah, you insta-kill this guy, much like Breaka. So this guy to the right, he sees Breaka just insta-kill him in the face, and then not 2 seconds later, another just big blast, and then his face is just gone, and this guy is going to turn and flee. Shade, you have an opportunity attack if you'd like to use it.
And I would like to use it.
That hits him.
And with Sentinel, he has 0 movement.
Oh.
Yeah, so you catch him, he just falls face down. He's like, no, please, I'm sorry.
And as this guy is on the ground, Rue is gonna fly over
Death by
and
bird.
talon his face. Aim straight for the jugular with his talons. Going brutal here.
That's a 6. You do have your inspiration if you would like to use it.
Yes!
So is he prone?
He is prone. You would have advantage anyway.
Is that...
That does it. Only 1 slashing. He's alive, but just barely. We're back up to Shade. You have a soldier on the ground, face down.
Yeah, I don't see any other. Oh wait, no, I see a guy right.
There's one archer here, and he is not sure what to do.
He is rethinking his life choices.
Yes, he is.
Shade, seeing that Rue essentially has this guy in hand, he's gonna go after the larger threat.
This soldier on the ground could get an opportunity attack on you, but he wouldn't dare. It is the soldier's turn. The guy on the ground, he throws his weapon and he just cowers, praying for mercy. And the soldier that you are staring down is going to disengage.
I believe with Sentinel, I still get an attack of opportunity on that. Yeah, creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you even if they take the disengage action.
Wow. Okay,
Yes.
that's ridiculous. Okay, he thinks he has the timing edge to get away from you. He confidently turns to go run. Make your attack. And that's a hit, bringing him to 1 HP.
And 0 movement.
And 0 movement. Do we have any other soldiers?
They're the ones running away from me.
Yeah, they're going to keep running. They're going to use their dash.
Okay, good for them. Okay, yeah.
They're out of town.
They think they are.
I'm really wondering what you mean by that.
Well, Firebolt has a range of 120 feet.
12 doesn't hit it. You see his form illuminated by the firebolt as it passes quickly through the woods. You're a couple feet off. Okay, Theo, you and Rue have this guy down on the ground. He is just begging for his life.
Yeah, I can't see it. Anything. I don't think there's much I could do unless I'm walking on top of him.
Yeah, if you want, you could take a ready action and set a trigger. So if you see somebody come in your line of sight, you can take a shot at him.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. You have your gun pointed at an open spot, and you're just waiting to see movement.
Rue is very upset that anyone would dare hurt the master. You know, no mercy. It doesn't matter if you throw away your weapon or not. You have brought down the hurt.
He's like holding his hands up and keeping the talons away.
Darn it.
Shade.
Shade will attack the archer again.
How do you kill this guy?
I imagine he was fairly startled, and as he turns around to face Shade again, Shade will effectively just spear him straight through the chest. Kind of that stab, hold it for just a second, realization slowly dawns on his eyes, and he just yanks it out.
He goes down, and there's just the guy behind you on the ground with 1 HP. Theo and Rue.
I'm gonna help Rue out here. It's taking him some time.
He's holding Rue off of him, going, no, no, no. And then he sees you just like raise up to your shoulder, and he like rolls, and the bullet impacts the dirt.
This guy's a ninja.
Please, I'll do anything you want.
Just die already.
No, anything but that.
Yeah, like, are we going to kill a guy unarmed pleading for mercy?
Yes. You don't come into this house. Try to kill this party.
He still has Rue wings outstretched, and the talons are going at his face. Somebody nicer, come over here. Oh my god.
Do you want the lion?
Just die.
And it is his turn. He's gonna disengage. I know he's still in range of you, Shade, so if you want, you have the opportunity attack him.
Can I shout out to him?
Sure.
Curse Sidon and pray to the gods.
Okay, I will.
Hearing that, can I use like the back edge of my glaive to do non-lethal or trip him?
Absolutely. You knock him down. He rolls over, just hands up.
And with that, Shade would just like stand over him and say, Theo, call off Rue. This one's actually kind of impressed me with his tenaciousness.
Me too.
All right, he does refuse to die. It must be the will of the gods at this point.
Shade would just kind of like grab him by the arms and start dragging him back towards the campfire.
Thank you. I'm sorry, everybody.
I think it's best if you just be quiet for now while we decide what we will do with you.
I should come up with a name for him.
No, then we have to spare him. Is Kyra awake?
Oh yeah, Kyra is like furiously scribbling.
Well, if he's willing to curse his own deity and aid us, do we let him live?
I know what my first question is. Those bodies back at the Temple of the Oracle, how many of them begged for mercy? Answer.
I don't know. Helica got there first. We were just there to keep them in line. Her bloodlust was something I've never seen before. One of them wasn't dead when we got there, but I'm not trained in medicine. I didn't know what to do. I stood by.
And you followed here.
It's my job. Brake is a powerful man.
I look over at his imploded face.
Yeah, obviously, I've never seen anything like. We made fun of you in the temple.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, not you. Actually, we thought you were really badass. I already have a tattoo of you. Look. It's like this really shitty like crayon tattoo.
Smiley face with like little cat ears.
It's like that bad taxidermy.
Shade would just kind of look around. I at least can understand you're a soldier doing your duty, however misguided it may be. I'm impressed with his tenaciousness and his will to live, assuming he renounces any allegiance to the Titans and is willing to divulge any information he can. I vote to let him live. Every person deserves at least one second chance if they're willing to repent.
I will only allow him to live if he swears that he will do naught but good from this day on.
Does he have any iconography of Sidon on him?
His shield has like a symbol of Sidon emblazoned on it.
I agree with Theo, but I know from the debates in the academy, just swearing to do good can be relative and twisted. And I will walk up to him and take the shield from his hands, and I say, spit on his face. Swear to never follow the Titans again, and cast it into the fire.
He gulps audibly, crawls on his hands and knees over to it.
And I will stop him. Do it because it's right, and not just because we're strong. Or die with honor.
That's a great line. Can you roll a persuasion check at advantage?
Ooh, can I?
22. He looks up at you, holding a mouthful of blood and spit, leans down, spits on the shield, looks up with you with just this like bloody shit-eating grin. Because it's right.
I assume now this next step is to throw it into the fire. Shade would actually help him stand to do that.
You pick him up easily. He kind of is surprised by how quickly you lift him up off the ground, takes the shield, looks up at the sky, throws it in, and you can see there's a moment where he's expecting lightning to like strike him out of nowhere, but nothing happens. Oh, okay. Okay, can I lay down, please?
Of course. What is your name?
My name is Linus. Linus Evictus.
Well, Linus, welcome to the rebellion against the Titans.
And that's our session. No, I'm just kidding.
No!
That'd be a great final line, though.
Well, I assume you're a foot soldier, but what can you tell us?
Well, I'm based out of Estoria. The city's not in good shape. They've been refusing tribute to Sidon. As such, a drought has befallen the city, and people can survive on wine alone, and the vineyard produces plenty, but crops and livestock tend to prefer water.
Are you saying that Estoria is under siege?
Not technically.
How did I not?
Theo, it's time to invent plumbing.
I've got an idea about that.
The right to appeasement by sacrifice is well within the limits of the oath, and as such, Sidon is free to subject the city to that if they fail to live up to their sacrifices. What else do you want to know?
I'd want to know, are there others of similar rank and abilities as Baracus?
I'm scared of Breka, but Breka's scared of our commander, Commander Gaius.
Gaius.
He's based in Mitros, but you never know when he's going to show up.
Anything I might know about him.
What you've seen of him, he is extremely grim-faced, and anytime you've seen him in the presence of underlings or like soldiers, they all seem incredibly frightened of him. You might have convinced me to spit on Sidon's image, but Gaius, he brooks no insult to the Titans. He makes examples of anyone who threatens Sidon's dominion.
And yet Pythor is still king.
Well, yeah, it's Pythor. He's a god. Who's gonna kick him out?
Exactly.
I imagine our fates will intertwine with Commander Gaius.
Yeah, the fates are fun like that.
Stay away from Commander Gaius. I've heard he crucifies bards just to shut them up. I hate to ask a favor. If I'm to abandon my post, I don't suppose any of you have a spare tunic.
I'll toss him my traveling tunic.
Thank you. I don't deserve that. Shade, Kyra approaches you specifically. She puts a hand on your lower arm. You did a good thing, Shade. My calling is to document your exploits, and my hope is that you will always act in a way befitting heroes. I started to worry for a moment watching you all. It's easy for a sense of vengeance to overpower a sense of duty, and I'm so happy to see that you made a heroic decision.
There was nothing truly heroic about it. It was merely one soldier's honor to another. He had probably little choice in his assignment, and he fought bravely for his life. And after he succeeded a few times, I figured that was worth rewarding. If the situation is reversed, I could only hope that he would show the same mercy to me.
That's very wise, Shade. We got some information that we wouldn't have had before.
And maybe another ally.
Unless there's anything else, the night passes. You guys all wake up eventually.
Before we leave the camp, Shade would look around for the bodies of the soldiers. Do we leave them to rot, or do we at least burn them?
Leave them to the birds.
Falbin wouldn't really have an opinion on this. He's used to leaving the bodies.
Shade would at least turn to Linus and say, "These were your comrades."
Most of them were kind of assholes. Phoenix, I was kind of close with. He helped when my wife had her baby. He has like a couple silvers on him, which should do. He says a word over his friend Phoenix and then heads off kind of in the direction of the sour vintage. Okay, so the road to Estoria is clear. It's probably about a half a day's walk.
After the events of the night, Shade would make a point to walk next to Magus for a while.
Magus is visibly worse than even yesterday after his night up.
I know you said you're all right, but you don't look it or act it. Sure there isn't anything you want to at least get off your chest?
What do you want me to say? Okay? You were there, you heard what the Oracle said. The great Sidon, the source of my greatness. Not that I've spent years studying, not that I've put in the effort, but no, it's because I was born of the worst tyrant in time.
At that, Shade kind of like looks up into the sky, just kind of contemplating it. That's not what I heard. Your lineage doesn't decide your abilities. Merely it sets the starting line.
Sounds very nice.
But look at it this way. At least you know your lineage.
Do I? Because that's the other thing, isn't it? If what the Oracle said is true, it means that at least half of my family has been lying to me my entire life. And he turns around and fire punches a tree.
That may be. But if you are one of the descendants of Sidon himself, don't you think that would have been for your best interest? To keep you alive? Or maybe they might not even know. Have you thought of that?
I've thought of that, yes. I can do nothing but think. There is nothing to do here but think. I told Kyra in the temple that I wasn't sure if I wanted to know which side it was. Which side of my family wasn't actually. But what I want doesn't matter because I have to think. And I saw the necklace, and I saw its make, and I saw its style, and I know.
Well, at that then, if you have nothing to do but think, then let's plan our path to topple Sidon. Whichever side of your family it is, does it truly matter if this is your quest? If this is your will? If pulling Sidon down from his throne is your goal, then think on that.
It doesn't matter? Yeah, you said you didn't have family.
Even if I did have family, they're long dead. Gone, either death to the war or death to the sands of time. And I can't even remember. What's worse, to lose a family in name or to lose everything? You're not the only one. If we are to do this, gods, think of it. Think of what the Oracle just tasked us with the other day. She gave 4 adventurers the task of doing what who knows how many Dragonlord veterans and armies could not. If that's not madness, but here we are. We're going to try, aren't we? Because that's what we will. If we don't have each other, we have nothing, and we will all fail.
Good talk, General. And I slap his shoulder. But I'll see you up ahead. And I take off sprinting.
Jade just kind of shakes his head looking at the ground. Oh, what a band of misfits we are.
Holy shit. If you watch the video later, I'm just eating candy, just grinning this whole time. Wow, that was some dialogue.
Assuming nothing else happens between there, Shade would look at him and be like, oh, by the way, Magus, we didn't have our spar this morning. You ready?
Fuck you, Tiger. And I raise a middle finger.
Shade would just laugh and offer his hand to help him up.
I accept.
And you guys are all emotionally 100% now. This is great.
No.
Therapy done. One sesh, man. As you catch up to Magus, you find yourself coming up over a hill, and down across the way is the city of Estoria. Estoria is the largest settlement along the Archelon River. It's built into a rocky gorge, sprawling down from a stone-walled fortress that faces the steppes to the north. The Archelon River itself runs along the northern edge of the fortress and forms a natural moat that can only be crossed by a bridge at the north gate or a ford down at the south near the Rock of Estor. On the far side of the city are grasslands known to sometimes host tribes of nomadic centaurs. You stop to get Magus, and coming from behind you is a caravan of merchants heading in the same direction. A couple bony oxen pulling a cart, lumbering down the road. The merchants seem tired, but they greet you. Are they headed to the city?
Yes, we are.
As he stops, you can see the oxen. They are pretty sickly looking, and he kind of stops and he leans over and kind of pats the bony butt of one of the oxen. These poor lads are to be delivered to the temple, and they'll be added to the sacrifices. It seems like it's not that no sacrifices are happening, it's just they're running out of acceptable sacrifices. They're running out of animals.
We're going to end up having to do something about that, aren't we?
Probably.
So you guys approach the southern gate. To your left, there is a road that leads down to the ford that crosses the river, and you can see the Rock of Estor. The Rock of Estor is less impressive than its name would suggest. Its flat surface forms a natural altarpiece where numerous sacrifices have evidently taken place. There's an iron pole stuck directly in the center of the rock, and white stones are scattered around its base.
Can I tell what kinds of things they've been sacrificing?
There's no remains there. All you see is blood. The guy you met on the road seemed to imply that oxen were going to be a potential sacrifice.
Well, I guess with that, I'd probably start leading the group to enter the city.
So you enter into the city, and it's kind of what you expect. It's that Greek architecture with the tiled roofs, and there's a lot of planter baskets that would indicate lush, decorative plant life, but a lot of them have gone unattended to.
Is our first stop the Dragon Shrine, or we need to pick up any supplies or anything along the way?
Yeah, sounds like Dragon Shrine would be good. At least to say hi, I guess.
You guys go a little further into the city. To the left, you can hear activity, and as you get closer, you can see there's an amphitheater. There's a circular stage of an open-air theater that's been built into the bottom of the hill, kind of away from the center of town. Continuing north is the Agora. The well-trodden streets of the city converge at this bustling central Agora. There's a motley assortment of stalls littering the area. There's merchants eagerly vying for your attention as you pass. Continuing north, you pass what looks like a blacksmith shop. It's a fortified stone building with a shingle roof. There's a sign hanging from the heavy bronze doors that reads Vulcan's Hall. And just ahead of that, there's a long decorative pool that is shallow right now. To the left is apparently an inn and tavern. It's a nondescript brick building with white stone accents called the Dragon's Tooth. You can smell food, and you can hear raucous conversation emanating from the open doors and windows. And then to the right of that pool is a series of buildings connected by a bridge which crosses the street. And the sign on the building says Eros by any other name, E-R-O-S. There is creeping ivy that covers the building with lush red blossoms, and you can hear the soothing sound of water features rippling over the street.
Wait, is this what I think it is? Guys, I realize there's something I need to do before I visit the Dragon Shrine. I am going to put Breaker's Coin to good use. And I march in the front.
The north wing is open to the public. You can see the south wing, but there doesn't appear to be a street entrance. This south wing connects directly to the palace. You go inside, and you're greeted by a quartet of varying nymphs. There is an Ore, a Naiad, a Nereid, and an Oread. They're all incredibly beautiful. The doors shut, and all sound from outside is gone, replaced by the finest instrument playing inside. Whatever instrument you think, because I cannot remember a fantasy musical instrument name right now, besides lute, which it's not bagpipes either.
That set the mood back.
You feel your anxiety drop as you enter. Everything just seems tailor-made for relaxation. So these nymphs greet you, take your hands, and they describe to you their pride and joy is a flight of transcendent experiences that run the gamut of emotion and sensation, which they refer to as the symposium. Those who have the coin and the time often emerge with renewed courage, valor, and boldness. It's like a spa day, like an X-rated spa day. You'll have everything from food tastings to wine tastings to musical performances to comedy to therapy to dance, everything.
I'm going to turn to Shade specifically. I know that we have business, but I need to not think.
By all means.
And I'm gone. I'm in.
They see you kind of going through your not clearly stolen bag of gold, but
Presumed stolen bag of gold.
It's like you pull out a wallet that is not yours, and you're like, oh wait, which fold is the debit card in? And they place their hands on your chest. They just tell you that they have a method here where if your company is as pleasant as they're hoping theirs is, it is a mutually beneficial experience. Everyone here volunteers, come in with good intentions and a willingness to experience the finer things, and everyone will have a good time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Yeah, so they take you in the door and your flight of experiences begin, and we'll fade to black there, cutting over to the rest of you. What are you guys doing?
And Magus is never heard from again.
Magus just lives here now.
That was the last we saw of Magus.
Shade would just kind of be like, well, I imagine we're going to have some time to kill.
Vulcan's Hole.
Let's go.
Looks like a
That's the shop
crafter's
I can
dream.
get behind.
You open the door, and inside the hall, you're greeted by the warm glow of embers and blasts of hot air. The room is decorated with a huge variety of bronze armors, weapons, and farming tools. A weathered-looking dwarf works at an anvil, just ting, 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 near the blistering forge at the back of the hall. He leans up, he wipes his sweat from his brow. Well, who breezes through my door?
My name is Theo.
Theo, what do you know? I've got a Theo right here. And he points to this young assistant that's running tools back and forth, and he stops, he looks at you with kind of a blank face and like one hand waves and then goes back to work. Don't mind him. What can an old man do for you?
I assume that you're the namesake of this establishment?
Oh, Vulcan, yeah, that's my name.
What kind of projects are you working on?
Oh, always something. Try to make stuff for the kids, you know? Gods, I used to make mostly weapons and armor, but I've kind of grown tired of that. I just like to make interesting things now.
Can appreciate that.
Wait, is that a Stimfey?
It is. It's Rue.
He's got like big leather blacksmithing gloves that go up to his elbows, and he kind of sticks his arm out. Hey, here, boy, come up.
Go ahead, Rue.
This is fine work. This is not... Wow, did you make this?
I did.
All by yourself?
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
23.
And how long did you train or apprentice before you made this?
I taught myself everything that I knew. I made Rue when I was 8.
This is really damn impressive, son. If I can believe you, which, now that I'm seeing you all, and Kyra comes in the door. Ah, yeah. You're the heroes I've heard about, aren't you?
That has been what we have been called.
Whatever you've been called, Theo back there, he's an instant fan. And he points to a small shelf where there are little marble action figures of you guys.
How did they get the merchandising so fast?
Merchandising.
Odyssey, the flamethrower.
I believe that's a copyright infringement, and I expect to get a portion of the profits.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Out before weeks.
He says, oh, don't worry about him. I already had a talk to him. No more figurines until the heroes themselves walk through that door. And
Are one of the figurines a likeness of Theo?
yeah,
I'll take that one and I'll get out a little chisel and I'll sign the base of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I'll kind of make it more of a likeness of me, since I am good with tools and proficient in those sorts of things.
Can you roll a
Probably dexterity, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you could do sleight of hand. Ooh, nice. Yeah, 19. Yeah, you easily chip away and hone some of the rough details to look more like you. You've got your monocle, trimmed up the horns, you've added some paint and little metal accents to the musket. Vulcan says, it's truly something that you've come through my door today. I was having a kind of a rough week. He looks at Kyra, and then he looks back at you, and he says, so what do you think of the traveling poet?
She's an odd one, to be sure.
Her poetry kind of stinks.
She's working on some new ones. At least that told us.
She's got some better material now.
Thanks to you, I'm sure. She's about the slowest person I've ever seen, too. She's like tapping her foot, arms crossed, staring daggers at him. Doesn't take a joke too well for such a jokester. Dad, please stop. Can you not?
At this point, Shade just kind of like does like a quick look back before and he's like, wait, Vulcan as in the Vulcan?
He has his blacksmith tongs and kind of flips them.
Huh.
I thought I'd meet you.
Same.
Huge fan.
I'd say now it's mutual, right? They say never meet your heroes, but sometimes you don't know your heroes until you've met them. Thanks for coming in. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I just wanted to see what you have to offer.
Well, like I said, I have a few irons in the fire, as it were. Not literally iron. Iron is almost non-existent here. Actually, Shade, he looks at your glaive. So you guys know, bronze is like the material that almost all weapons and armor are made of. But Shade's glaive is a different color, a neutral grayish. And he says, "Can I see that?"
I guess. Gingerly hands it over.
He respects your gingerness and he matches it in kind. He's a dwarf. He's like literally a dwarf. So like you are so much taller than him. He's like 4
Bending down.
He's like 4 feet tall. You guys are all taller than him. And so this glaive is just ginormous in his hands, but he wields it with the dexterity of somebody who's been around weapons their whole life, and he runs a thumb over the blade. This is ancient steel. This is not Thelian.
That surprised me.
The Oracle must have given you an earful.
Yes, she did. In fact, one of our numbers is currently working out that earful across the street.
Oh yeah. He'll be in there about 6 hours. Anyway, not my kind of thing. My son, however. For those of you who know anything about the Pantheon, Vulcan is the father of Hathor.
Is it like the king of the city?
The king of the city and the god of battle.
Yup.
And also very prolific.
I'm sure your friend went in that northern wing there, but that whole southern wing, that's for my boy. Only he's allowed in there. People come from all over to take a ride with the god of battle. Thankfully, they've kind of slowed as of late. He's kind of not himself right now. I guess you could say none of us are. But as far as this blade,
What can you tell me of it?
iron is not natural to Thelia. Any iron that exists comes from foreign lands, foreign shores. Wherever you came from, you're not the only one that comes here from somewhere else, whether willingly or by accident. I've met people over the years that tell me the craziest stories of vampires that rule an entire country, or giants fighting against dragons, cities being heated by volcanoes. All kinds of people end up in Thelia. But you, first off, I've never seen one of your kind. I've heard rumors.
Really? I haven't met anyone like myself either.
I'd say you're not likely to, but I mean, I've seen crazy things. Your figurine's gonna sell well. Tell you that. Theo comes back in. I finished the firewood. I was just telling our friend, better get a good look at them while they're here. As long as...
Sure.
I'm okay with it. I'm hooded, so.
Why not?
Oh no, Magus's figurine is going to be just just generic.
Just a blob. Lego.
Generic elf B. So it's like, at this point, Shade would strike like a pose. Glaive standing on the ground, a hand on hip, looking up. Just make sure he gets my good side.
Vulcan says, well, what brought you to Estoria in the first place? I mean, you must have come for a reason.
Do we just tell him?
Well, we've told his daughter, so...
If there's one good thing about my dad, it's that he never leaves this damn room, and so will never tell anyone anything you say.
Well, I guess that works.
I go places.
I go to the newspaper and get the crossword puzzle.
I go and have dinner at the Dragon's Tooth every night. No, Dad, they bring you your dinner like 3 out of 4 times. You do pickup at the door. You don't even go inside. It's like, I don't. It's too noisy.
Shade was just gonna interrupt the family back and forth. The Oracle sent us here. She recommended this as one of the first places we come to on our quest. We're looking to see about talking to some people at the Dragon's Shrine. But you'd mentioned earlier about things not going well lately.
Oh, when you're as old as I am, you have things that you wished you could have done, and then time goes on, and here you are in Estoria, where there's drought and there's centaurs in the north. And
is there anything that can be done about the drought? I mean, assume centaurs could always be either negotiated with or confronted, but the drought...
I'd be careful with centaurs. They love a challenge, and they are no weak challenger. If you go speak to them, be prepared for all hell to let loose.
Duly noted.
As far as the drought goes, I think unfortunately there's nothing we can do besides maintain the status quo, as much as that pains me to say. It's within the bastard's rights to demand sacrifice, regardless of whether we have anything left to sacrifice. So, yeah, I think people around here are just losing steam. Feels like there's nothing I can do about it.
Was there anything we could do about it?
I mean, the thing about oaths and deals is that it's fine print. I don't know, maybe if you can find some way around it, some alternative. The Oath of Peace is not ironclad.
As we've seen.
Though my dear departed was the one who pitched it. It was during a moment of extreme crisis, so there was not a lot of time to iron out the details. I'm happy to help with any information you find out, and if there's something custom you need crafted, I'm happy to help.
We will definitely be in touch again, no doubt about that.
Actually, would you come back, young Theo, while you're in town? I want to pick your brain about a few things. But enjoy the Dragon's Tooth. It's fine. I mean, it's it's here.
It's here.
The pancake balls in the morning are pretty good. There's always some good rumors floating around, so if you're looking for clues, that's a good place to start. I have a feeling you're not going to get too far before my son finds you. He's not going to let a chance to meet the heroes of the Oracle pass him by.
Was that a good thing?
He just wants to see if you're all that.
Compared to a god of war?
He's also a god of being bored. He will take whatever distraction he can. But, if you see those side-on soldiers, just kick them. But, don't kick them. Do not kick them. That's, I said, gift them a crisp high five, because that's what I'm allowed to say.
Shade looks at him and winks and goes, right.
Yeah, Oath of Peace. It's a real bitch. Anyway, Kyra, you take good care of them. It seems like good folks. She's like, oh, they don't need me to take care of them, that's for sure.
Pancake bowls, anyone?
Can I just say underrated comment? DoorDash.
Anyway, if you guys want to step into the Dragon's Tooth,
that seems to be where we'd go.
You open the door of the Dragon's Tooth Inn, and it's very busy. I mean, this is a lot bigger place than the Sour Vintage. There are people from all over. It's not just farmers. There are soldiers. There are merchants. The outside of the tavern really did not clue you in as to the number of patrons crammed in here, but there's a bar and an assortment of wooden tables, and there's a wiry old white-haired man that seems to be tending bar, and he says,
oh, hello, welcome to the Dragons, whatever, you saw the sign. Sit anywhere. Sit.
You guys filter your way through the crowd looking for an open table.
Shade would be particularly looking for one near the back, hopefully in a corner.
You find an open table, and the table directly adjacent to it, seated at it, there are several dwarves who are kind of covered in like soot, and they are kind of tired and like decompressing after a long day of work.
All right, so I assume we're gonna sit down, and
Yep.
I'm gonna flag down the person who's bringing us food, and I'm gonna order up those legendary pancake balls.
The old man walks over to you, like, infuriatingly slowly. I don't know if you know that scene from Monty Python and the Holy Grail where Lancelot is like running at the castle and he's just not making any progress, and it keeps cutting back to him and he's running and he's not getting any further. It's like that, but like an old man just barely walking. But he eventually gets there and he's like, so, what'll it be?
Yes, I'll have your legendary pancake balls.
Order an old man a drink first, will you?
Ales
I'll
around the
take
table.
one.
Can you speak up? I can barely hear you in here.
Ales around the table.
All right. Be patient with an old man. He shuffles away, and you're like waiting for him to get out of your sight, and it's just never going to happen.
And this is how we spend the rest of the 6 hours.
My hosts are much more lovely.
Probably a little bit more spry.
But yeah, as you're sitting there waiting for your drinks, you hear the dwarves talking to each other. Oh boy, the copper mines are just not keeping up right now. If only the mithril mines could be reclaimed, you know? Oh, those damn mithril mines.
Cat ears. Satellite targeting.
Just like a giant question mark appears above his head. Above his face.
And as that quest marker appears, we will end there. So thank you guys for joining. Tune in next week. Peace.